praise and worship that was going on in heaven. Those was praise and worship, and the combined choir of angels and saints. So I asked the angel with me, I said, I want to join those people singing glory and adoration to God. The angel said, no, you're on assignment. So I asked him, what are those substances that are coming from that direction? Whitish, wonderful substances hanging at the throne room of God. The angel told me, he said, you see those praises and worship that is going on? They are coming as a sacrifice, as the fruit of the lips of the people singing. It's a combined choir of angels and saints. You need to be in that choir. And they declined the request for me to go and join those songs in heaven. The Lord showed me a lot of those mansions. He said, I have finished preparing the mansion, but unfortunately, the bridegroom, the bride of the Lamb, is not yet ready for the coming of the bridegroom. That heaven has been prepared. Everything has been finished. Prepared, waiting. And while we were standing by the door of the mansion that looks like an office, I heard a booming voice. When will our brethren come and meet us over here? And Jesus said, you can hear. The saints in heaven are preparing and waiting for the coming home of the saints. That everything is set in heaven. The only thing remaining is the rapture of the saints, which will bring the saints back home. The Lord took me back to the gates of heaven. When we got to the gates of heaven, I saw a preacher who died and was coming towards the gates of heaven. He was coming with so much excitement, as if he wants to enter heaven. Then one of the angels shouted, "Stop!" And he was frightened and he stopped. Then the Lord spoke to him concerning the state of his soul. The Lord spoke to him on the stained robe of righteousness which the Lord gave him. I gave you this robe and I warned you against defiling this garment. Now, part of the thing Jesus showed me in heaven, he said to me, people of the world said, how can fish swim inside river and will not drink water? They do not believe that the blood I shed on the cross can set anyone who comes to me by faith from sin and from the power of sin. My blood that I shed on the cross can set anyone who comes to me by faith from sin and the power of sin. I will show you a living example of someone you knew when he was in the world, who had died and have come to heaven, to prove to you that a young man like you can serve me in this world and can come to heaven in holiness and righteousness. So he took me to a mansion. We got to that mansion. Suddenly, I saw one of my late friends. We went to the same high school and the same polytechnic. Although he was my senior, he was the president of the Fellowship of Christian Students while I was in the high school. Brother John Lambert is his name. He came out of that mansion and in excitement wanted to hug me. The Lord said to him, no, he's on assignment. He's going back to the world. That was the first time I heard that I'm going back to the world. I shall be going back to the world. So the Lord stood there with my friend with a big smile and a crown on his head and a white robe. My friend was a very poor person on the earth. He had nothing. While we were in school, in the high court, in the polytechnic, he cannot afford food, even school fees. But we lived together in the same room, slept on the same bed, ate the same food, did everything in common. Sometimes when I go to market to buy stuff for myself, for clothes and anything, I buy with him. I buy for him too. So he died on November 7, 2001. I didn't know he died. I just came to visit him where he was working because he tried to work before he raised some money to go to higher institution, to university, for university degree education. And then I got to that school to look for him, to greet him when I came to the city. I asked of him, they told me that, yeah, you've not heard what happened to your friend? I said, what happened? They said, your friend died on November 7th. It was a brief illness. After he died, they couldn't keep his corpse in the mortuary. They took him immediately to bury because there was nobody that wanted to be responsible for the bills of the mortuary. He was buried immediately he died, that same day. Transported his corpse to the village and then he was buried. And I didn't know. When I came to look for him in that school, I was told he has died. But he lived a very wonderful Christian life. We were friends. We grew up together. We lived together in the same room while in the hostel. He lived a wonderful Christian life. He walked worthy of the vocation in which God called him. And I was surprised when I got to heaven 2003. I saw my friend in the glory of heaven. Nobody can tell my friend to come back to the earth and you will agree, because I wish I were like him, because for him, he has gone to heaven finally. No more temptation, no more prayer, no more reading the Bible, no more anything. He is now enjoying the glory of God in heaven forever and ever. So Jesus told me, he said, if anybody wants to go to heaven, I will give him sufficient grace to go to heaven. But if someone wants to go to hell, Satan can sponsor support for the person to go to hell. Again, the Lord said, I'm going to show you something again. The Lord took me to a mansion and asked me a question. I said, do you know Sister so-and-so?